First thing that I want to tell you is that I don't want you to believe anything that I say, nor to trust me. The human design system is an empirical system. It's something that proves itself. Anybody who's ever worked with it knows that. Human design is new knowledge. It's only been in the world since 1987. These things take time. I mean, from the moment that I introduced human design, I introduced it as an experiment. It's an experiment. It's not my experiment, it's your experiment, or potentially your experiment, and it's the only way to live this knowledge. You experiment with your strategy and authority. It is about the possibility that lies in each and every one of you to live out a truly unique purpose on this plane. It doesn't matter what your religion is or your culture is or whatever. It's about understanding what it is to be a human being, and it's a value to all. This is not about an awakening movement. I'm a mechanic. You look at the plans, and the plans say, look, it's very simple. You do this and everything's okay. You don't need that authority out there to help you survive, to tell you what to do, to control your life. You don't. And you better be equipped. And it's not up to anybody else. It's up to you. Just you. What you can do is you can stop wondering about why you are the way you are, and stop worrying about what you think you could be or can't be, and just sit back and watch and see what in fact you are. To learn to find oneself, to learn to live by one's own authority. Everything about the nature of being able to live this life as yourself with all the possibilities that come to it is rooted in you living your strategy and authority, freeing yourself from your mind, making decisions for you based on conditioning, based on what you're not. To live your life as yourself is not a matter of having more and more and more information. So many people I know, they spend so much time studying as a way of avoiding the truth. This is not about, collecting data. It's about living correctly as yourself. It's the most extraordinary thing. And it's at the very core of this knowledge. This knowledge is about the simple, but it's the simple that's not easy. We're here to be aware, and that awareness begins within oneself. It's not seeking something that's outside. It is seeking the truth about who you actually are. Who you are. Human design is very simple in its mechanics. It says, look, there's a strategy and authority to your particular construct. Try it. This is the whole thing. You're trying. You're not looking for something that's beyond yourself. You're trying to find who you are. The love of self arises out of the sense of well-being that comes when you manage your own life correctly. It is something that has to come out of you. It is often difficult because people are used to doing things for other people, for reasons. They really don't know how to do things for themselves. And so you end up with dependencies, because if somebody's got to hold your hand through that process, it's never your process, and you're never going to find out. So many human beings today are just simply conditioned to want to do things because other people tell them it's good for them, or, all that. And then they lean on all of these other people as support mechanisms, and nothing happens for them. It's not something that you define by what other people think. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what their opinions are, what their impressions are, what their this and that is. What matters is that the moment that you can take your life in your own hands, you can begin to trust yourself and you can begin to love yourself. The biggest trap in this point in your life is looking for somebody to love you. Be very careful. Be very careful. The fact that somebody loves you, is not the point. The fact that you love yourself is really the point. You have to see it in yourself. It's nice to recognize that in others, but to see it in yourself, to know that you're worthy, to know that you don't need that love, that you don't need that friendship, that you don't need that trip, whatever it may be. The deeper you settle into your authority, the deeper you settle into an appreciation of you. And that when you're operating out of your own authority, you don't determine your value by what others think about you. You find yourself. You find your strength. You find your beauty. You begin to, settle into what it is to be a passenger. It begins with trust. With trust. Not trust in somebody else's authority, but trust in your authority. Oh, it's really a remarkable thing, because the moment that you trust in your authority, you begin to see that you're perfectly equipped to live your life. Your life. That it's unique. It's differentiated. It's special. It deserves your love. It's when you find this true security, the security blanket that you can really hold on to, and it doesn't come from anyone else. It's you. It's you. It's just about being you. And you see, the moment that you can live that is the moment that you can feel that love. Self-love. Loving yourself. Such a beautiful thing. We are all here to be fulfilled in our spirit. And so much of what we are as a being, the joy that's possible for us in what it is to be here on this plane, can be found in your signature, strategy, and authority. But whether you're this or that in human design, there really is no better or easier. It still comes back to the very same thing. It comes back to whether you can follow your true strategy and your inner authority to lead you to the decision making that's going to be correct. It doesn't matter what the configuration is. It is the correctness of action and decision making that makes the difference. You can only be, correct as yourself. This is it. And in being correct as yourself, the main byproduct that anyone derives from operating correctly is you change the way in which you move through space. That is, you begin to eliminate resistance. As human beings, we are here, as nine-centered beings, to fulfill our unique potential. It's what I teach. It's my whole purpose. For each human being to be able to realize the possibility of what it is truly to fulfill their potential as themselves. It's what human design provides. A mechanical way, tools for being able to get to that place of living out our uniqueness. And in that uniqueness, what we share, all of us, what we know so deeply in our hearts, is that we are alone. We are alone. We are alone inside of these shells, no matter what our relationships are and whatever their beauty may be or not. We are alone within these shells. And everything about being alone within this shell is that we are here to fulfill the potential that is there. When I teach love yourself, I'm not being philosophical. I'm teaching you the only thing that you can truly ever love. Everything else is just a movie. But yourself, this is all you have. This is what we are about. And this is what we are here to fulfill. And think about what really matters. What matters is your life. It's not about what the great forces are doing or what the program is playing. It's about your life. And whether this time on this plane, in this incarnation, is going to be something that is worthwhile. And it's not a difficult task. It isn't. It's about pointing yourself to the truth. That your life is something that is worthy, to discover that. It is not a life to be thrown away so easily in the dream of destruction. It can be a magnificent thing, of great value and beauty to those that are around you. And to you, the fulfillment of your purpose on this plane. We all have a purpose. You cannot reach that as not self. You cannot reach that caught up in propaganda and hysteria. You can only reach that by digging deep and surrendering to what's possible for you here on this plane. If you can hear my voice, at least you have an opportunity to experiment with the possibility that it is something unique and extraordinary to be here, to embrace the beauty of this life. I cannot understand how anyone who claims to be spiritual cannot embrace this life and discover its beauty. It is here, in this life, on the mundane plane, the basic things, friends, family, love, all of those things. You see, life at its best is the mundane made beautiful. If you're expecting awakening to be a big Hollywood presentation, you're barking up the wrong fantasy. It's not like that. It's about reaching your signature. Every type has a signature. See, I look out at the commonality of humanity and I see the potential of extraordinary uniqueness. And that extraordinary uniqueness does not need to live that out in some kind of vast drama. Because you see, the mundane is so rich. It is full of all the drama you will ever need. It's perfect. Oh, it's so painful to be not self. It's so painful to be ignorant. It's so painful not to be able to accept yourself. And you see, when you see it as a mechanic within yourself, you realize right away, it isn't something to be changed or altered. It isn't something you have to hide or be ashamed of. It isn't something that you should mask because somebody else has some kind of an idea of what the hell they think it should be. I mean, look at the ways in which we're raised. I mean, it's the first thing to understand about how far away we are from ourselves. We're raised with deep, deep conditioning. We're not raised according to our nature. We're not nourished according to our design. We're not given the opportunities to be able to develop in a way that is correct for us. We're not. We're conditioned from the moment that we enter into the world. And you know what happens in that? You see children who are standing in front of the mirror in the morning, before they're on their way to, the school, the institution that's going to continue the conditioning. And they look at that mirror and what they're looking at is they're looking for something. They're looking for something that's not them. They want to be like somebody else or better than somebody else, or, they have been conditioned already by their families that they're not good enough for this or that, and why can't they be like this or that, and all of those things. And at a very early age, human beings don't really think very much of themselves. Everything about the work of putting human design out into the world has been a struggle dealing with those that are conditioned. But the true beauty of this knowledge lies in the fact that it opens up the possibility for those that are coming into the world to be able to be treated correctly and to be fed correctly and to be raised correctly and to be able to have all the possibilities and opportunities that are there for them to be able to realize their unique potential. The key is that we're all here to be present in the experience of us. See, self-love is a really rare thing because self-love is rooted in your own authority. Your own authority. It's what happens to us in terms of conditioning from the moment we come into the world is that we lose our authority on this plane. We are trained to give up our authority, to our parents, to our teachers, to give up authority to any authority figure. I mean, we give up authority to our partners, our friends, our dogs, you name it. We give up authority. We give up authority to governments, to gods. We give up authority to everything. It's fundamental in us because everything about the homogenized world is rooted in control. Everything about what you do in this life, everything about what your life is going to be, depends on what you decide. It's your decisions that make a difference. Yet the moment that you give up your authority, the moment that, it is all in the hands of the others, you're never complete. You can never trust in yourself. And then, of course, you end up in a life in which you're not self-mind, rooted in your openness and your conditioning is making decisions for you, taking you further and further away from who it is that you are. You do things for the love of them. I used to tell people this all the time, and I got so tired of them saying to me, yeah, but. It's nicer in German, aber. It's like bad music. Yeah, but. There is no yeah, but. There isn't. You see, if you don't make a stand, nothing happens. If you don't surrender, you never surrender. If you don't try, it's never going to happen. You see, this is all about loving yourself, trusting in you. If you're not ready to become yourself, go elsewhere. Be not self. Join the rest of the zoo.